Welcome to the WACO Experience, an American story.
We, the people.
With your host, D. Scott Smith.
In order to form a more perfect union.
Interviews with leaders in business, government, and nonprofit organizations.
Promote the general welfare.
Jobs, products and services, and infrastructure for strong communities. Secure
the blessings of liberty.
The WACO Experience is an American story, a story of communities across America. It is your story.
Waco just continues to surprise me. There are so many things that are happening here in Waco that you would like, oh, that's really taking place here. And that's it's surprising. It's interesting.
I met today's guest, Jermaine Malcolm, at the weekly meetup sponsored by and hosted at Startup Waco, which is both a co-working space and business accelerator. The entrepreneur has always been close to my heart. It is the entrepreneurial spirit, which is such an important part of the American landscape. It is these bold individuals who take great risks to solve problems and make life better for others. Anyone interested in starting or growing a business is welcome at Startup Waco. I'm your host, D. Scott Smith. Each week I bring you stories from leaders in business, government, and nonprofit organizations. You can learn more about this program, our sponsors, and the podcast version of this show by going to our website, thewacoexperience.com. This program is made possible by sponsors. Quality Cabinets. Your home is an extension of your personality. Smooth, clean, and elegant. Quality Cabinets is the perfect choice for the modern aesthetic. Visit the Design Center at 720 New Dallas Highway in Waco. Quality Cabinets, modern design, everyday comfort. Call 254-744-0938 and visit the website qualitycabinetstx.com. Christian Family Law Solutions is a Christian-based, solutions-focused mediation provider. They help their clients avoid costly litigation and remain focused on the most important priorities in their lives, creating paths for peaceful resolution, not brokenness. Call 254-777-5171 and on the web, 1c6.law. PresentGifting.com. Imagine never forgetting an event for those important people in your life, because relationships are important and moments matter. Present Gifting is a free service to send you gentle reminders of birthdays, anniversaries, holidays, and more. Register today at presentgifting.com. Heart of Texas TV Indoor Billboards. My friend J.B. James Battle, former helicopter pilot for the U.S. Army, and his team at Hot TV amplify your brand where it matters most. Be seen where your customers eat, work, shop, and play. Learn more on the web, hotdigitaltv.com. Waco Independent Film Festival, named one of the coolest film festivals in the world. The Waco Independent Film Festival is celebrating its 10th anniversary, July 16th to 19th. WacoIndy.com. Ray's Automotive Specialist. My car is my baby. When it needs service, I call Ray. Certified technicians, Christian values. Domestic or import, Ray has you covered. Call 254-495-7810 and on the web at fixmycarray.com. D. Scott here, back at Startup Waco. One of the favorite spots that I have here in Central Texas, in Waco, on Austin Avenue. It is a part of the business community here. Not just startups, but it is a support of existing businesses. It is a culture that is here in Waco that is conducive for people to start businesses, to get the support they need. And today I've got Jermaine Malcolm, and we're going to hear his story. But Jermaine, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Let's jump right into your businesses. And as I say, your businesses is
yes.
Right? Because you've got a ton of things going on.
Too many things going on.
So give us an overview and how people would get a hold of you, and let's go from there.
Yeah, so I like to say I have a small portfolio of social impact businesses. But when I take a step back and I look, there's at least one that I can say, okay, is that social impact? It might not seem like it, but so when I look at this portfolio, the first thing, or where I spend most of my time, is SGA, which is Skills Gap Advocate. And that's the name of our holding company. And that's essentially to bridge skills and opportunity gaps for those that need it most. The way that the way this looks or transpires into, the real world is that we build programs for entrepreneur support organizations or people that are trying to help entrepreneurs. That might mean a boot camp or a cohort and just something, or a student entrepreneurship program, right? You're familiar with the work that Startup Waco has done. We've helped to build a lot of the back-end support programs that Startup Waco runs. And so that's where I spend the majority of my time. As far as other businesses, I have a couple e-commerce brands, militarymilestones.com and wearmystory.com. And these are really e-commerce drop shipping type. The traditional people go online, they have a story that they want to put together on a jewelry, and they curate that, and then we build that out for them. And then I have another company, which I don't spend much time on, again, because it's sort of woven into what we do with SGA, and that's studentathlete.co. The story of that is because I'm a former student athlete and just trying to help as many student athletes as possible understand their whole identity, and just instead of just the athletic identity, and helping them to start businesses so that they can feel more prepared whenever they graduate college.
How are people going to get a hold of you? Let's find out about contact information. People want to get involved, and who should be involved? Who's going to be reaching out to you?
Yeah. So if you are someone that is concerned about creating more opportunities within your community, perhaps you're a nonprofit organization or you are a community builder and you want to see a program exist within your community to start more businesses or to drive workforce innovation, I would love to connect. And you can easily find me on LinkedIn. That's where I'm most active, Jermaine Malcolm on LinkedIn. And we're on all the other socials as well. And then you can also just go to our website, sgabuilds.com, which is BUILDS. So sgabuilds.com.
So you've got multiple businesses. Yeah. And one of the things that I have that I advocate for is multiple streams of income.
Nice, yeah.
So a lot of people think, oh yeah, I'm going to start a Shopify store, sell some stuff. I'm going to get on Etsy. It's not going to be an income replacement, likely.
Yeah.
You might get lucky, but chances are that's going to be one piece.
Right.
You're involved in a number of businesses that way.
I am a huge advocate for diversifying your revenue streams as well. Our family, we practice this quite a bit, whether it's through investments or a regular job or just having something that you've created or owning property, right? So there's several ways, and this is one of the reasons why I advocate for entrepreneurship. So I'm a huge fan of that, and I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, even on my website, I added for the WACO experience, I added mugs and hats and
there you go.
That kind of stuff, right?
There you
Just
go.
Little swag.
Yeah.
What kind of opportunities are you seeing for people like that?
Well, I think right now it's such an easy time to create, especially if you know and have the resources or the networks, really, not just about the resources, because the resources are everywhere now. You can utilize AI and you can build your website in less than 5 minutes. Right, you can go on Fiverr and you can have someone build out, a specific framework or curate your ads for you, or whatever it is. It's so easy to create. So if you have an idea right now, it's just about taking the initiative to move forward and making it happen. I usually push for something that is connected or associated with the skill sets that you have, so that you're not spinning the wheels and trying to create something out of thin air. And that's difficult for a lot of people, because you see, ideas and you say, oh, that sounds cool. Let me try that. But maybe you have no experience in it at all. So I advocate for what is in your toolbox right now that you can utilize or that you can speak about, and try to develop something around that.
Yeah, a lot of times people will ask me about starting a business.
Yeah.
And they say, I want a business, but I don't know what to do. So my recommendation is, I said, go back over the last week or 2 weeks or last month in your brain. Somewhere along the line, someone called you up and said, hey, Jermaine, can you help me with?
Yeah.
Right? Because they trust you and they know you have expertise.
Right.
And you solved the problem.
Yeah.
So then you ask yourself, do other people get paid to do this?
Right.
If so, I go, look, you've got a skill. People already trust you and they're asking you to do it.
That's it.
All you got to do is open up a a Stripe or PayPal or
Yeah.
something and go,
That's it.
yeah, pay me and I'll do it for you.
That's it, and the other way to go about it too is what's the pain point? Go back, 1 or 2 weeks and say, okay, what was the thing that really irked me? What are the things that I was really frustrated about? And are other people having issues around this as well? Or what are the things, when I look at my bill, what are the things that I was paying so much money for that if there was an easier way, I would opt into that.
Yeah, I've worked with high school students, Young Entrepreneurs Business Week, which is a business camp for high school students.
Yeah.
It's a week-long sleep-in camp. And they actually write a business plan, and at the end of the week, they pitch it to actual venture capital and angel investors,
Yeah.
not to get money, but to get
Feedback.
real-world
Yeah.
feedback, right?
Yeah, that's good.
And a lot of them, it's the same thing. They think, well, what problem are we going to solve? What business are we going to create?
Yeah.
And I tell them, same thing. Just go through your day. You get up in the morning, you go to school, you do homework, you have fun. Where along the line do you think, man, if only this thing was better?
Yeah.
Then make it happen.
That's the opportunity right there. That's the opportunity. So many people can resonate with either the pain point, right, that you had over the last couple weeks, or you can move towards the skill that you have, right, or the expenses that you're trying to, or just I guess you could call the efficiency in trying to improve something. And I think if you look within those 3 areas, you can typically develop something that you can put out there in this world.
So we are here at Startup Waco every Wednesday morning at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
There's the meetup. What's one of the most inspiring stories that you've heard of someone's business here?
Waco just continues to surprise me. There are so many things that are happening here in Waco that you would like, oh, that's really taking place here, and that's it's surprising, it's interesting, and you want to be a part of it. And the meetup is one of those things. I got involved with Startup Waco probably about 5 years ago when we moved from San Antonio. And when I came in, I was looking for a co-working space. I was working with a startup at that point, and I was in a co-working space in San Antonio, in fact, one of the largest ones in Texas. And I know the type of inspiration that can come from being around an area and a space like that. And so I was looking for one here, and I looked at Startup Waco's mission and what they were trying to accomplish, what they were working towards, and I was inspired by that. And so I came into the place, and Ashley, typically at the front desk, Ashley has a very funny story. She, to me at least, she said that the first time I came in here, that what I asked her was like, how was the ecosystem here? So I laugh at it every time because I am curious about, how people get together and make things, and how does the community support that. And so I came into Startup Waco, got connected with the people here, and it's just been beautiful. And so tons of inspiring stories. I love Ashley's story, her just being able to build while she's supporting other builders here. She has her own makeup business on the side. I've seen individuals come in here, like Elaine, who also works with Startup Waco. She was an administrator in the school district for years and has turned her experience in HR into a business. There's one company here, Cornerstone. They have a huge company all across the country, and it's headquartered right here in Waco. Right. So I just see inspiring things happening. And what's been cool is that there is this trying to hold on to, just good values and working to support people genuinely. It's reflected here in this community, and you can see it and you can hear it in all the business owners that are present here.
So I want people to get to know Jermaine Malcolm a little bit behind the scenes.
Sure, yeah. So my wife and I, we've been married now for 12 years, and we got married. I proposed to her at this restaurant in San Antonio, really low key restaurant, and it was, I think last year we were going down to San Antonio. We're saying, hey, let's try to test out and see if people believe that I am proposing to you for the first time. And so we're going in, we're walking in to take our rings off, and I'm going in just like sweating nervous because I just do not like to like lie or make sure I'm deceiving anybody. And my wife is cracking up. We go in there, and we're sitting down, and the waiter brings the water and the chips and all of that stuff, and we're just kind of waiting. And then we're like, okay, we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna do it. And so I get down, and you can see in that picture that was taken, like I'm just like cracking up. I can't hold myself together because I know that this is fabricated. But I get down on my knees and I propose to her, and she's laughing and she's saying yes, 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 and people all over the restaurant are congratulating us. The waiters, they come, hey, we're gonna take care of your food, we're gonna give you all of this stuff, and I'm starting to just like feel horrible. But we're having a great time. We're sitting down, and I shared too that I ended up just paying a tip that covered everything because I couldn't take it anymore. But it was just one of those fun moments, being with someone, being with a partner, that just challenges you to step outside of your comfort zone every now and then, and that's what my wife does.
I wanted people to know kind of a little background story because it's fun. This was a great moment that you guys will remember for the rest of your marriage, right? All this time together that you recreated a moment and just have fun doing it. Yeah. So did you grow up in an entrepreneurial family or an entrepreneurial influence?
Yeah, stepping back and thinking about it, I did. I did not really recognize it until I probably was graduating college. Yeah, I did. My father was sort of an MC in Jamaica. My mom, she worked in the modeling industry, but then also in music and restaurant. And so they just tried to create their own pathway. And so that was inspiring. And my uncles, same inspiring journeys in that sense. But I knew when I was in Jamaica, I could recall, I tell the story all the time that in Jamaica, we have these trees. They're actually the national fruit, and it's called ackee, and it's my favorite meal. And so my grandmother had this big ackee tree in the backyard, and that's where I used to actually wash the dishes in the backyard under the ackee tree. And I would dream a lot during that time, right? I would dream about all the things that I hope to be, wanted to see in my life. And I could recall knowing that I wanted to start or create something. And then when I came to the States, which was my freshman year of high school, I was always fascinated by those. You remember those commercials with the caveman and the wheel, and it was like inventor.com and so I was always fascinated with those commercials and just like, I want to invent something. All throughout high school, I was fascinated with that. And then in college, I started going towards my senior year, I started a nonprofit organization, which eventually led up to what we did with StudentAthlete.co, which we talked about earlier. But yeah, I always wanted to create and had a lot of inspiration on the way.
So we had Bryson from Goosehead Insurance on the show. I titled his episode From Baylor to Business. So he was a Baylor football player.
Yeah.
And we talked about how being an athlete and the discipline that's required translates directly into being a creator, to being an inventor, to owning businesses like you and your wife do. So let's talk about your athletic journey and how that applies today.
Yeah, my athletic journey, it taught me so much. I would hear from our coaches all the time that, football is a game of life. And I didn't recognize it until, again, after I graduated. But I'll start a little bit further back where when I came into high school, I knew I wanted to go to college, but I did not have a pathway or knew what that would look like. I knew I wanted to get an education. That was the first thing that was the primary thing my grandfather would talk about He would say, hey, you got to get your education. You got to get your education. That was your number one mission. And so when I came here, I tried every sport that I could because I saw individuals getting scholarships to go play sports in college. I was like, okay, that's the pathway. And so I tried every sport that I could fit in my schedule until one day a coach came up to me and said, hey, know what you're trying to do. If you play this sport, I think you can get there. And this sport that he was introducing me to is something we do not play in Jamaica. We do not play American football, and we do not run into each other for fun. And we like to be on the track and turn left, right? That's our thing. He introduced me to this game, and I started playing my sophomore year. I learned this game based on what these coaches were telling me. That was the first transformation in my life because I saw what could happen when someone who could see your potential came in and told you about that and gave you a pathway towards that. And so really a lot of that process is involved in everything that I do today. It's all about creating resources, getting relevant mentorship into the lives of people that are trying to get to that next level. First of all, he taught me that sport, and fast forward a few years later, I had multiple scholarship opportunities and the opportunity to get that education that my grandfather always talked about. And so that radically changed my life. Through a sport, that sport was my vehicle in getting towards that next level. I talk about that all the time, and I share those stories because I think, we get to see, the relevance, one, of what sport can do, the power. My wife has a very similar story. My wife has a very powerful story. In fact, she came from the Caribbean just like me. She also learned to play an unfamiliar sport from someone who saw the potential in her. And she went on to play professional in the WNBA for 10 years. Just the power of sport. And it's taken her all over the world, right? And it's still continuing to do that. And so the power of sport is just incredible in all the life lessons. But yes, we receive so much discipline. We receive, the understanding about teamwork and accountability and all of those things that we're applying continuously within our work.
One of my son's football coaches had this great line, and he said, do the things you have to do.
Yep.
So you can do the things you want to do.
Yep, you should. Our kids who are 8 and 9 years old can quote you that directly because we tell them that all the time, and it's something that we heard from our coaches, right? We say, do what you need to do now so you can do what you want to do later.
So let's talk about the future. We're here in Central Texas.
Yeah.
There's a lot of opportunity.
So much opportunity.
Let's get inspiration for the future for people who are interested.
Yeah.
In building a business.
Yeah, and I can't highlight Central Texas any more than I do. I feel like it is such an incredible time to be in this area, in this region. It's growing. It's one of the it's the fastest growing corridor in the U.S., right? That 35 between San Antonio and Dallas. It is growing like crazy. People are coming to Texas and they know all the opportunity that's here, right? And so if you reside here, it's time for you to tap into that. I loved what former Mayor Waco said not too long ago. He was like, if you are a pioneer, right? This is the moment for you. This is the time. And Waco is a place for that, right? If you want and have the opportunity to build something, you want to create something, it's so easy, especially in an area like this, to connect with the person that you need to connect with in order to drive your business forward. Networking here is so much easier. I don't know, you've been in some of those larger cities, right? It's so hard to get the right contact in the first place just to move an idea forward, right? But not even, relying and thinking about just like the individuals that you need. And of course, I stress that you need the right people in your pocket, in your corner at all times. But right now, as far as like the capability of a solopreneur, what you can do is incredible. I tell you about my existing businesses, right? But there are probably 10 things that I've just created that are just on the back burner, in the back, just sitting down because I don't have time to do it. But they're good ideas. They're validated ideas, right? And the way that I go about it is that, okay, I like we talked about those pain points or those things that you go through. I take one of those things and I go to, say, ChatGPT or Claude, and I have additional research done for that. If I feel like, okay, that's a good starting point, then I take that and I create a prompt for it to build a website in something like B0 or Claude or Replit, right? And I put that prompt out there to build that website. I publish the website. I take that to whether it's a B2C or a B2B, I take that to a potential customer and say, hey, is this something that you might be interested in? And I try to get that first dollar, right? See if someone will pay for it right away. And if I've got something there, then now it's about distribution. And distribution today is probably the biggest differentiator, right? Because now you can create ideas very easy. And now it's about how can you get it out there in front of the right people. And so we talked a lot about it. My goal coming into this year was figuring out what distribution today looks like. So you see me spend a lot of time on LinkedIn because that's my audience. That's where I'm building a community. Because now today, if you work on building a community, building an audience, and you have emails, you have people that are listening to what you're saying because you've created trust within that community. Now, when you've created products or based on what they're saying, you create products. Now you have audience where you can actually distribute your product and services to.
Yeah, it's amazing. You talked about some of these different tools, Claude and so forth, different website builders, and they're not free.
Yep.
You know, you do pay a fee. However, what you pay compared to,
oh my goodness,
even 2 or 3 years ago, well, you want to build a website, $3,000 and months.
Yeah.
Now today, $20, $30, $50.
I paid $50,000 10 years ago to build something that I built within a weekend for a $20 subscription.
So life is good. Life is very good.
It's a crazy time.
Wind us up. Tell us about, again, how people get a hold of you, how people get involved with Startup Waco, or wherever they're at. Yeah. How do they get started? And I love that you talk about community. I often quote my buddy Ted Rubin, who said, networks give you reach, but community gives you power.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, community gives you power and strength. It gives you that encouragement to continue. That's the power of plugging into a place like Startup Waco. I cannot stress that further. The individuals that you meet whenever you're trying to build something and they're trying to build something as well, there's just a commonality that you find, right? You feel like, hey, they're going through the same struggles and we can encourage each other as we move towards our goals and towards our dream. And that's very powerful. We should not take that for granted. That is a very powerful mover for the idea that you're trying to create. And so, yeah, I encourage you to plug into the Startup Wacos or, the entrepreneur support organizations in your area, because that is a mover. That is an accelerator. It has been an accelerator for me in my career, and I know that it will be for you too, because it's a community. And so I would love, like I said, if you're looking for thoughts on what you could create and ideas of how to move things forward, again, you can find us sga.com, sgabuilds.com, or find us on LinkedIn, Jermaine Malcolm, and all the different socials. But I am rooting for you. This is the time to build. There's never been a better time in the history of the world to build.
The Waco Experience, an American Story, is a production of D. Scott Smith Company, all rights reserved. Thank you for listening.